through to the neck and then come back, and then it's a case of starting to loosen off on the lateral side. So once we've got a little bit of oils on, it's really simple stuff, but I've got the hand in pronation through here, and so you can see here you've got all these extensors, you've got your radialis and your brachyradialis just there, and that can get really aggravated as well. So it's a case of presenting the muscles in a really nice way. I'm holding onto Gemma's hand, because if I didn't, I would just be pushing that shoulder up towards the ear. So this just gives you that really nice stability. It's nice and tactile, it's nice and reassuring to have hold of someone's hand as you do the work. Just working my way out. So I'm using my carpal tunnel, and I'm just working my way up to the lateral epicondyle, just through here. And you can see, if you, visually, you can see the muscles standing out here. That's my line, just up there. A little bit there as well. You can see it on there. So I'm just following that line of tension, taking it up to the elbow and back down. And that feels like that's probably enough.
It is nice.
Just to...
I'll quite happily let someone do that for ages.
Being in this position means that we could take the wrist off the couch, add a little bit of flexion, and then just work my way up. And so that was lighter pressure from me.
Oh, okay.
But too much pressure for you to just have that flexion going on, yeah? So that's like now you're starting to squirm, so I need to lighten up in order. So it's all about trying to position the muscles in a little bit of stretch, and then that just takes the effort out of your work. Okay, so it doesn't need to be too fancy. I tend not to use too much single thumb work. So whatever you do, try and reinforce, and then we're looking for that most prominent part, and we're following that up, and then here. So there, it feels like it's a little stuck down and there's a little bit of tension in there. So I'll go into that, right about there. Just single thumb, and you're in a nice relaxed position in there, and then just friction up to the lateral epicondyle. So the muscle goes through to there. That's tendon. Just getting up to the muscular tendinous junction. Just work across each one of those. Good guys. Compression work. How's that feel?
That's good.
Feels quite specific
it's quite sore, but it always feels quite sore.
And yeah, it feels like there is a real sort of pinch point just there. There was quite a lot of tightness in and around the brachyradialis, so you could just lift it and work up through. Again, that feels really nice. That gets really well utilised. It helps with pronation and supination, so if there's lots of that type of movement going on, then this one is a really nice one to work through. As you come through the flexors, you've got your supinator, brachialis. I quite like, you've all done the massage, presumably. You saw,
I haven't done any going.
As you apply your pressure through the flexors, you'll see that you're quite gripped with your fingers. They are quite close and around here. So as soon as I lay my hands on, those fingers just close right up. So you're applying pressure to the flexors, and you are pushing the pressure up towards the medial side as you do your work. So a camel spindle works quite nicely, and again that I can hold the wrist and then work my way up. Then we can bring the arm into a little bit of extension, come to the inside of the elbow. It's not always the same, but there is like a real tender spot just there. And we can just work the medial side. Then for me, I do tend to work. So if we like portion the wrist off, if I can just work the very last quarter of the wrist and the hand, I like to work down through the carpal tunnel. Make sure you support the hand, and then just steamroll over the fingers and open out the palm, and then come back through. Because there's tension here. Like in carpal tunnel, there is compression and there is tension in this section, and we want to loosen that off. That's the whole we're not just here for a rub down. We're here because people have conditions that need help, and that is very specific to their
Are
problem.
you easing off the pressure as you go out over the actual carpal tunnel itself, or are you just keeping it going? And is there any danger of aggravating that? A bit of pressure on it?
Aggravating it? No, not really.
Further compressing it?
You will sort of send like neural pain and issues going up through here, but you'll have swelling going on in this area as well. So you would want to start by pushing the edema and the swelling up.
Okay.
So always start with those principles in mind. Then as you're getting into here, you can get specifically into the tendons. There are 8 in and around here.
Wow.
If you feel a pulse, then you want to like come off of it. But you want to kind of move our fingers apart, get through, take the root through the carpal tunnel with your fingers and open out the palm. Just take the pressure out. The carpal tunnel. And then I would tend to be in a stool, and then still, you can, this palm here, it feels quite tight and quite closed.
Yeah.
There's no movement in this wrist at the minute. So a lot of what I'd be doing is trying to get into these carpals and just like tease them open.
What causes that kind of tension? Because it doesn't feel like that. I mean, I've got tennis elbow in this arm.